you guys can see my image down there. I don't know why my webcam's not broadcasting. Um, I'll probably have to figure all that out here lately. And if you're seeing my desktop, you probably are seeing infinity right now. So let me minimize this. The purpose of this is I want to monitor the impact of my message. And the objective here is to connect with people, raise their awareness, help them realize the necessity for peacefully restoring lawful governance. Okay, because we don't have that right now. I mean, and it's almost universally across the world. Okay, we now allow ourselves to be governed by public policy and not public law. So that creates a problem for us. Okay, and technically it's called color of law, and it's what's governing us right now. It's called color of law. It's not law. It's based on the principle of legal positivism. Our problem is we've been so dumbed down that we don't realize the difference between law and legal. So my effort is just simply to raise awareness, educate people, show them what their responsibility is, to be just basic men and women. To ensure the protections of their rights and the rights of everyone. So right now, everybody, there's a lot of people out there that think, hey, wait a minute, violence, protest, complete demonstrations of outrage in extreme ways is going to be the solution here. That's not going to educate people to responsibility. A lot of people don't even know what responsibility is. Okay, so my effort is to help people know this, and the way I'd like to do that is actually put my message out there so that people actually understand that. Okay, so I am going to monitor the impact of my message. Okay. Right now, I mean, it's obvious to me that this message is being suppressed. Now, who would suppress something like that? Well, only people that don't want lawful government, right? Or governance. They're the ones that don't want it. And to me, if you don't want that, then you seek to infringe on the rights of others. And quite frankly, that's criminal behavior. Or at least behavior of someone who is confused and lost their minds. Okay, so who does not want lawful governments? Who does not wish to enjoy fair treatment? Okay, now get this out of your head. Okay, I'm not talking about freedom. Okay, freedom is a dangerous little trap here. If you seek freedom, notice that there is really no such thing as complete freedom, because you have to be mindful that your actions actually impact others. Okay, and when your actions impact others, then they are not free. Okay, so what you want is a basic standard of agreement on how each of us would like to be treated. And there has to be universal agreement. So these things cannot be very specific. It has to be fairly broad, and it may require some interpretation by some sort of lawful judicial system to reconcile, some conflicts. Okay. Now, if you're using a lawful process, then there is no reason for any kind of force to be applied unless somebody is drastically outside of the universal standard. Okay, so all the specificity that we have. I mean, I think I did a calculation, just roughly estimating, looking at just purely U.S. law and how long it would take a human being to read all the laws and policies that he's required to know just to be, a party to that agreement, the federal code. Okay, and I calculated it, and I think I came up with something like it would take 700 years, day and night, to read all the things that you're required to know to be in strict compliance with federal code. Okay, and that's just federal code and agency law. Okay, that has nothing to do with your local policies, your municipal codes, your state codes. So we have all these things that these guys want us to do, and we have no capacity to even know what that is. In fact, I have to believe that a lot of people who call themselves "quote unquote" law enforcement have no clue what it is that they're trying to make people to do, people do, and quite frankly, they're as lost as the people who are having that code enforced against them. So, look, we stepped off the path. Let's get back on that path. Let's figure out what it's going to take to actually do that. Let's look at what responsibility is and what those rules are. So that is my effort. So initially here, I just want to expose people to my general idea is to show people some basic principles in the law, teach people what responsibility is, teach people what it means to have lawful governance, teach the difference between legal and lawful so that they actually know. Because if you don't know what these things are, then you have no power at all. And you can't expect any protection of rights if you don't realize what a right is. Right. And you can't exercise a right if you are not responsible, because with rights, with the exercise of rights comes responsibilities. There's consequences. There's an impact. If you choose to do something that impacts others, even in a positive or negative way, then there are consequences for that. Okay, and you need to know when you exercise or you act, whether or not you are executing a right or if you're executing a wrong. And if you're executing a right, then the impact is going to be constructive. If you execute a wrong, then the impact is going to be negative, and you are responsible and accountable strictly for what it is that you do or do not do. Okay, and it's not just a matter of, oh, okay, well, I didn't do anything. That's bigger problem than actually doing something wrong, because if you don't do anything, people are going to presume that you consent to something being done to you. And of course, they're going to say, well, hey, we slapped around his whole family. He didn't do anything, so I guess he's totally okay with it. All right. So you got to see the dangers here. Okay. And unfortunately, the population worldwide has been dumbed down to the extent where they don't understand these basic principles. And it's my objective is to actually help people understand this. Now, there is nobody on the chat, and so I have no feedback. I don't know if my webcam is actually getting out. I just assume that they're getting out, that it's getting out. But of course, I have no feedback. And you know what? Initially starting out, hey, that's totally okay. All right, that's totally okay, because I don't expect a whole lot of people to be jumping on board with this. One, because most people that hear this stuff for the first time, they're so shocked by what they hear, and that it really is unsettling to them. Some of them are afraid. A lot of attacks. I mean, some even have threatened my life. And all I want to do is protect their rights. But I can't protect their rights if you don't know what those rights are and if you have no responsibility. I would very much like to have a group of independent minds who understand what their responsibility is, are aware enough to act in a responsible and competent way, so that we, as a group of people, not just here in the United States, but worldwide, have the awareness, the knowledge, and the capacity, the lawful capacity to maintain any lawful government we choose. Because right now, we don't have that. Okay, we have people who are making the rules up as they go, and just simply by criminal force, forcing you to accept it. And because they have more guns than you do, they win. Well, hey, that's the way it works in the animal kingdom. Okay, the biggest criminal is always going to win, right? It's only the fittest survives. Now, in a lawful system, the minority, the minority view is protected from the majority view. Okay, we're not talking about democracy here. We're talking about representative republics, or we're talking about a group of like-minded people with a mind and an awareness to conclude that, hey, wait a minute, the protection of everybody's rights is very important. Okay, even people that stray off there, most especially for the people that stray off the standard, because hey, we will not be perfect when we start out. We may have agreed to a universal standard that may not meet a sufficient number of needs, okay, and it may be lacking, okay, at which point then, hey, we need to go back and have the courage to revisit our standard and tweak it from here, from there. Now, that was the original vision of the republic, and it was under attack immediately. In fact, I can actually make a case that the Republic of these United States actually, from the gate, when the gates opened and it was starting on the track, it was already going down the wrong path. Okay. Because the last thing they want, and I'm talking about people who take advantage of ignorance, the last thing they want is a bunch of free people walking around. Okay. And now I use that word free reservedly, because ultimately we should not be seeking freedom. We should be seeking equity. Equity. Such that there's universal fair treatment, and it doesn't matter who you are, whether you've acquired an enormous amount of wealth or whether you're dirt poor like me. Okay, we should all be treated equitably, and we should treat others with that same fairness and equality. Okay, and look, at the time the republic was open for business, the women had no say in anything. Okay. There were still people that weren't even considered people. They were considered livestock and ineligible. And that's atrocious. However, there is a matter of children. Okay. Now, from a long time ago, from ancient times, people recognized that a child was not competent until a certain age. And at a certain age, they were told, hey, okay, you are now responsible for your actions. And they were held to that. Okay. So when you're a child, you're not competent. Okay. If you're not competent, you're not fully competent. Why? Because you just don't know you don't know the law. You're not educated to the law. So you can't exercise rights yet. You fall under the protection of a steward. Well, your parents. Okay. So they have a responsibility to ensure that, one, you're educated to the law, and that you know how to comport yourself in a responsible way, such that when you reach the age of consent, meaning that you consent to abide by the universal standard, then you have all the tools you need to do that and to protect your rights and not stray from the standard, such that the group, the rest of us, say, hey, wait a minute, hey, we're gonna have to help you and correct you. Okay, so I'm just showing right now that, hey, there is a structure here, and we've lost that structure. We don't even think about this stuff anymore. There's no checks and balances. The primary checks and balances that was devised was that a juror in a court is probably the most powerful fixture of any lawful government. Why? Because 12 jurors can decide, hey, wait a minute, this law that you say this guy is guilty of doesn't make sense to us. We're 12 people. We don't think that law is reasonable. Okay. And that's called jury nullification. Okay. And you can't stop a legislator or a court from ruling in a particular way. Okay. They might come up with a law that doesn't work for people. That really that doesn't work. So 12 people get together, they look, and he says, okay, yeah, this man did this, and under the law, he broke the law. But we look at the law and say, wait a minute, none of us would want to have this law used against us. So that law goes away, and it goes away right now. Right. And no judge and no legislator has the power, or executive for that matter, has the power to say, oh, no, we're going to do it anyway. No, it gets nullified. right? It's okay, government, go back to the drawing board, and if you want to suggest something, suggest something that 12 reasonable people on a jury can agree to. Okay, so that's the primary check and balance, right? That is what ensures that tyrannical systems don't don't become entrenched, right? Well, so what is the first thing you attack? Well, you attack the jury process, and that's what's been done here almost universally around the world, right? So these are the types of elements of awareness that I want to help people understand. And once people understand that, and we find out that we're the majority, then we can reestablish a replacement for the nonsense that's taking place right now. And that's my objective. So in this status report, I just wanted to get that out there so you guys understand what the objective is here, so that you're not afraid that you're dealing with some kind of kook, and that you feel comfortable sharing this information with the people that you care about. Okay. And I would like very much a little bit of help from people who are indeed aware and responsible. Okay. I can't do this without a degree of resources, but if you cannot contribute in a substantive, fake money kind of way, and you can go to the Roage.com site, and there's a donation button there. And if you can contribute that way, hey, that's fine. Okay. But you know what helps more is awareness. And if you can help people actually see these messages that come out and see what the point is here. Okay. And see that, hey, wait a minute, there's no danger here. Okay. We're not combatant. Okay, we're a lot of times it's just going to be merely asking a question, and if we ask a question and we don't get an acceptable answer, then we can actually suggest something and an alternative, and if people are reasonable, they would see those alternatives as something that, hey, they themselves actually want to get involved in, and so that's my point. Okay, so right now, I'm not very good at this. I'll have to learn how to do it. I mean, I don't have much help. As far as I'm concerned, I didn't even know if I'm coming across on the camera very well. I'm not getting any feedback on there, but I do want to give you an update. I'm going to show you my my information. Hopefully you can see my desktop. Okay. Currently the Roage channel has 64,057 views. Okay. And that's history. Now in the last 28 days, not much of a bump. I put the new no due process video out there, and it's got 42 views, 2 likes. All right, that's great. There's a number of comments. That's great too. Okay, and I would like if I need to do these updates weekly or daily, I would like to know what is the best time to actually do that, so that we can chat and you can actually provide more meaningful feedback to the process, because that's important. This is not me doing this for everybody. Okay, this is us doing this for us. Okay, and it has to be that way. And if you don't like it, okay, and if you don't like it and you have some serious questions and you don't have any serious doubts, hey, I want to hear from you first. Okay, you first. I want you to be comfortable that what we're doing here is actually helpful to all of us. Okay, most especially you, and most especially the people who are skeptic. Okay, I don't want to have to go through a process of beating this into people's heads. If you can't, on its face, look and see what I'm saying as being reasonable, peaceful, and something that you want to be a part of, then I'm doing something wrong. Then we're doing something wrong here. Okay, so right now, 64,000 views on the channel. The due process video at this point, here at 11:19, has 42 views and 2 likes. Okay, so 2 people like that. Okay, I don't know how much time you guys spent watching it. I apologize. It's pretty long. It's fairly introductory, and look, it's not very well done. There's a bunch of mistakes in it. Hey, I'm just a human being, and hey, perfection. Hey, that is the objective. But hey, it's a road, and we're on. We've come only so far on that particular road, and it's individual, and that's what makes our particular life experience fun, right? It's not necessarily the successes, but sometimes it's the setbacks that we learn from. So that's it. Now, something actually very interesting happened, however, and I would like to actually expose that. Now, I put that video out, and I think it actually went out about 4 o'clock Central Standard Time. I got a notification from a friend of mine that after I put the video out, President Donald Trump actually tweeted something that one of my friends thought was incredibly interesting. Okay. And hopefully you can see this. I don't know if it's big enough for you to see. But Donald Trump said this. He said, people's lives are being shattered and destroyed by a mere allegation. Some are true and some are false. Some are old and some are new. There is no recovery for someone falsely accused. Life and career are gone. Is there no such thing as due process? Now, the friend of mine, and I believe he resides in the UK, he said, Roger, I believe your president is asking a question. I know you are competent and qualified to answer. Well, bless your heart. Thank you for that. Okay, so in response, I tweeted him and the president both. Okay, they're part of that stream. And I responded to President Trump's question as, sadly, no, Mr. President. That ended in March of 1861, when the people rescinded the trust and public policy replaced public law. The people must be educated such that they realize the need to reestablish lawful government. The key is consent. I am happy to help. Roage. Okay, so that's how I responded to the president. Now, the timing of this is very interesting. I put out a video about due process, and the next day, President Donald Trump makes a reference to due process. In fact, if you look at what he titled due process, that was the exact name of the video. Right? I said no due process. So he might have been actually, somebody might have gotten the video to him. Okay. Now they're watching me. Okay. They're watching me. I know for a fact, at least FBI is watching me. NSA is watching me also. Okay. I have no idea to what extent. But like yesterday, I was looking at the view count on that video. Okay. And that view count up until about 8 o'clock, when I hit that video, it said 2 people had watched it. That was it. Okay. And I knew for a fact that at least 5 people watched it when it said 2. So there's an amount of suppression. Okay. And the troubling thing about this is, if those people in YouTube and those people in Twitter and those people that are now totally terrified of the 99% of people out there actually knew that I can actually help come up with a solution that even protects them from the 99%, and the 99% can be protected from them. Right? Now, we've been confused. There's a lot of really just, quite frankly, I hate to judge, but there's been some despicable behavior. Okay, and these are not the actions of necessarily of diabolical criminals. These are people that just simply do not know the difference between right and wrong, and simply do not know why it's even important. Right? They have a particular worldview that's founded on everything that they were given. Of course, everything that they were given, was, if you look at it, you look at from a perspective of the 1%, they were taught that they were the masters, and the 99% were taught that they were the slaves. Right? So the 1% don't have any more. They don't have any more control over their life experience than the 99%. Okay. We're on a rail here. What are we getting to? Okay. We're learning about justice. Okay. How do you learn about justice? Well, the best way to learn it is have it removed from you. Boy, that will actually show you why it's important, and you won't take it for granted. Right? Love too, same thing. Right? How do we learn about love if there is none in the world? Wow, that's a poignant lesson. That's how you learn it, right? Um, Also, equity, justice, those types of things. War. How do you know that war is really not a thing you want to be involved in? Well, ask any soldier that has seen combat and seen the effect of war. He knows why you avoid that at all costs. Okay. So you don't really appreciate something until it's gone. So we've gone through a period here as men and women on this planet for quite some time where certain things that are truly important to us have been withheld from our experience. Okay. So I seek to, hey, now that we have enough experience about what we don't want, let's return to a place and give those things back to ourselves that we do want. Okay. So I think I've been blabbering long enough. I think you folks get the point. Hopefully this status will show up on the webpage. Don't know. I'll save it out to the channel, and then I will start making regular broadcasts. And it just depends on the need. If you would send me a message, if you would hunt me down, right now I don't have all the nice little links in my description page. It's actually a lot of work. It would be nice to be able to focus on this exclusively. However, I do want to send a message out to President Donald Trump. I am at your service. And I'm sure if you would like to meet with me, I would be happy to. However, you better block out some time because I have a lot to get you up to speed on. And it will solve everybody's problem in that everybody's going to realize that we're on the same team here. And we have this illusion that we have competing views. Okay. We do this for our own self-protection. However, that reaction to self-protection is now creating a worldwide existential threat. So we need to diffuse this conflict that's going on. I mean, people are getting killed right now. I mean, a lot of people are getting killed right now, and the threat to not just a one part of the population, but I mean to the entire Earth. I mean, come on, folks. Come on. It's time, really, it's time to be an adult. So, Mr. President, I would love to help you. I'd love to sit down. And I don't want to waste your time. I will go through, very specifically some of the base points. And I'm sure with your popularity, you can bring this information to the people. My involvement, I'm not here to be a leader. I'm very happy that if you want to take the lead on that, or if you want to assign it to a group, I'm totally happy with it. I don't even have to be known. However, I would like to at least participate in the process, so that I can help and offer suggestions, because I've been operating in strict liability and attempting to comport myself according to the law since July 4th at 4:40 a.m. 2006. Now, July 4th, that was very poignant. No accident about that. So I've got some pretty good ideas about how that works. But the problem is lawful comportment in our current system is completely incompatible. And it really should not be. They should either be in strict complement, they should be either in strict agreement, and all players, whether they want to comport themselves in a legal way, and those that want to comport themselves in a lawful way, there should be no conflict. And right now, there's a lot of conflict. Okay, so this is Roage. I'm signing out for today, and I appreciate all your help, all your participation. If you like the video, like it. If you don't like it. But I would ask, if you don't like it, please, I really need to know why you don't like it. Okay, and then I can actually work on that. However, if it's a matter of law, hey, I don't make those rules. I just tell people what those rules are. Okay, so if it's a matter of how this is presented or what it is, something that's within my power to change, I'm happy to review it. Okay, or at least discuss it with you, and we'll do it in public. Okay, we'll do it in public. It's not going to be some offline secret little discussions, because I think people need to be really involved in the process. They need to see it evolve, so that they can be comfortable. Why? Well, because they have to consent to it, and they can't consent to it if they don't know it's there. So, you folks, like, subscribe, show people what it is that we're trying to do here. I have information. Okay. I would love to actually find somebody who has the resources to actually, produce this in a much more, let's say, sophisticated and aesthetic way. But right now, I just don't have that. Right. So the more this gets shared, the more people know about it, the more people that subscribe, the more people share, and most especially, the more people talk about it, and the more people that bring more people in to show them, hey, wait a minute, wait, this is actually worthwhile. This is something that you want. This is something that we all want. And hey, it's a real solution. Right? Well, let's try something different. Hey, let's try mercy. Let's try forgiveness. Let's try understanding. Let's try responsibility. Let's try justice. Let's try peace. Right? Let's try harnessing the powerful, useful, and constructive qualities of human beings, instead of resorting to fear, scarcity, and force. All right, I'm Roage, signing out. You have a good day. Bye-bye.